Hey guys, I'm getting a lot more technical about how to pick up expired domains for these website flipping projects that we're doing. If you do a search for buy expired domains, I'll just give you an example of how this goes. You see certain things, there are a number of them, and you can go through them and through them and through them. Let me go through a couple of examples of what you find. So you'll see listings like this, buy expired domains, like buyexpireddomains.io. Okay, I mean, that's pretty simple. Now, when you scroll down, you're going to see a bunch of domains, and here's what they're saying. They're saying these are the ones that have really good scores, and what you're seeing are decent scores, okay? Moz Domain Authority is 41 out of 100, 26 out of 100, 32 out of 100. That's good. Referring domains, 472, 302, 354, that's good. Trust flow and citation flow are similar in nature. You want a 2-to-1 ratio or better, but that's ideal and never happens. Okay, basically, yeah, let me continue though. I won't explain it, it's too much to explain. So Majestic referring domains is, this is how many domains are pointing at. This is Moz and this is Majestic. You know, they're measuring differently because they're measuring the quality of the backlinks, not just the quantity. So this is a little more lenient and this is less lenient. It's a little more strict. But that's good because you want to see the more strict numbers are decent and that they're related to the total number of domains. So the ratio here is pretty good, right? Otherwise, you're going to have a bad balance between trust flow and citation flow. Basically, it's a question of how many websites are just spamming you versus the number that are actually good quality. So when you have trust flow, those are websites that are related to you, that are reasonable. Citation flow is websites that are linking to you that have no business linking to you, right? If there are too many. Citation flow is the number. And so if you have very few websites that deserve to link to you and a whole bunch that don't, then you want to disavow a bunch of backlinks, right? But if you have a pretty good ratio between these two, then that's cool. You don't have to spend your time disavowing backlinks. Anyway, let me see, expires, just gives you an idea how long before the auction. The auction's going to ramp up, hard and fast, you can bet. Some of these do have buy nows, most likely, but you have to go and check. Domain authority trend, this is Ahrefs, and that's cool because you can, it's Moz, I'm sorry, and you can hover over it and get an idea how strong that is. I think it's a day-by-day thing. And so you come down here and you can see how some leap up, drop down, leap up. Interesting. It makes you wonder what happens to do that. Consistency, though, is really good. And what it's doing is showing you that most of these are pretty consistent. But some of these guys are letting in because who knows? You know, you're seeing ramp up details. You can check that kind of velocity scaling and see what you think about it, right? Some of these are iffy. They don't have a lot of history, so you're not really sure if you trust them yet. You know, maybe there was this huge push forward to get backlinks out, and you just have to go back and check and make sure that the other scores update in time. So, having said that, one thing that I find, if you go and check these out, they're all selling for something like 600, 750, or whatever it is, or the current bid might be down here. What I find is these numbers ramp up real fast in the last couple of hours, in the last hour, in the last few minutes. You know, website that might be on sale for $12 winds up selling for $105, but it was $12 was the top bid until the last hour, right? And then it just ramped real quick and sold. And that kind of thing can happen. And so you check them out. One thing that I worry about is that many of these, I wonder if the guy who created this website in the first place that says, hey, buy these good domains, if they're cranking these out, we could go and start looking up the sources like the IP addresses and stuff. Most people don't set up websites on totally different platforms all the time using totally different themes, using totally different everything else, because it's just too hard to do. Most guys, if they're going to set a bunch of these up for sale, they've got like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different places where they just build these things, you know, and use them to backlink and do other things, and then they go selling them. And so my wonder, and I don't know if this is true, is whether this website, whether these guys own many or all of these domains, and they're just doing this to churn out their own sales. So be prepared for that, because it's possible as you go through some of the links that you find here for the different offers, right? I only bring it up because when they're saying, hey, all this stuff has really good scores, it seems like all of these things are on auction. None of them are just simply expiring. See that? $12. It's going to start at 12. Let me see. When does the bid end? It ends at 7:29 at a certain time. So like a day and 1 hour left. You can bet this is going to ramp up during the last period. Some of the guys that own websites say they'll have a buddy that'll put a bid, and then they work it with you like a ring boss at a real auction, right? Where they're making sure to bid you up, and then they try to stop when they're pretty sure you're still going to go, but they really kind of feel that out. And so, because they don't want to be left holding the bag, right? But anyway, that's a skill you learn. You win some, you lose some, but they can always put these back up on sale. Like some of these may have rolled through and expired and then rolled back through again. So it's kind of interesting to know. But having said that, I would go and I would look for things that I think are worthwhile and just see what I think about that. I haven't spent enough time here. That's one thing that I learned that's really, really important though, is that there are lots of places you can go, because Spamzilla, they cannot process through the websites as fast as they want. It takes time. And so look for different sources for where you can get expired domains, because you're going to find many. But just keep in the back of your mind, are the sellers of those domains, do they have a special purpose for putting that list up? Or do those domains look worthy of buying for the prices intended, right? As long as you're seeing domains that are worthy of it. If a domain's 6 years old, it's been active at least 5 of those 6 years, it does not have a spam issue. Archive.org's been hitting it from time to time because it's worthy of storing in the Wayback Machine. These are things that matter, right? And they have decent scores. These are things that matter. And also, don't just trust the scores. The last DA trend on one of these things was what? It said like 42. That's like a 41, right? But if I take this thing and go look, I may see a different score, although I don't think so. This is Moz. If I check on Ahrefs, I'll see a different score. But that's because Ahrefs calculates differently than Moz, right? So just be aware that Moz has DA, domain authority, whereas Ahrefs has DR, domain rating, right? So different scores, and you just evaluate. There's such a thing as a strong score and a weak score for Moz and for Ahrefs. And usually websites that are pretty strong in one case are somewhere around average to strong in the other, right? You never see one that's really strong in one case and really weak in the other. At least I haven't looked closely enough to see that. Usually I see correlation. So just stuff to keep in mind. But it's good for those of you that are getting your own domains. Stuff like this is useful. And what you can do is choose to put a bid on one or more of these domains and see what you can win. You might think, well, what if I buy more than I meant? The answer is, wouldn't that be cool? How many of you think maybe you do want to start more than one flipped website, right? Because why not? So if you see really good domains here and they have good scores and you feel like it, bid on a few, see what you win. You might bid on 8. You might win 2. See? So one you're already going to use and the other you're contemplating putting into action. Not a bad idea. Okay,